This is just me talking. I have no whatever. I gotta talk. You're doing great, kiddo. Some of you know I have a pretty bad panic disorder, and it hits from time to time. And when it does, it does. So this is just kind of one of those get it off my chest because it's therapeutic. I may start another channel just for mental health type of stuff, because I don't know if I want to mix the two of everything I'm doing with this one, the Mundane Rockstar, and forging friendships and all that. So I don't know, and it's just kind of one of those shot in the darks of just need to talk. And if there are people out there that have answers to things or just want to be a listening ear or shoulder, whatever, I appreciate that. If not, yeah, keep passing by. So, I've been doing this forging friendship stuff, and it's great. But the stress that comes along with that and everything else. I mean, I'm looking at my bench right now, and I've got, I don't even know, man, 20 blades that need to get done. I got customers that they've been waiting long enough, and it weighs on me, and the stress is just, it's too much. And on top of all of that, when the panic hits, it just everything else comes to a screeching halt, and I can't do anything. And priority is the kid. I got to take care of my kid. I'm not sacrificing that, but at the same time, it's a double-edged sword thing, where if I'm not working and making money on my knives, then I'm not taking care of my kid. It's tough. Anyway, working on this forging friendships thing and getting everybody's story, the amazing stories that we're getting, has caused me to kind of reflect on mine, and I've recorded mine, but I don't know if I'm going to do it. Put it out there. I just don't know. I don't know, but it's therapeutic to just get it off. And not that I'm one to blame other people for things, because I'm an adult. I'm accountable for everything that's going on in my life and now. And you have people throughout your life tell you, there's no one to blame for things that happen to you except yourself. And then that little voice in the back of your head's always telling you, yeah, but you don't know my past. You don't know my childhood. You don't know what kind of scarring things happened then that have, we always give credit of, things in the past have made me what I am today, but we never look at the negative side of the things in the past have made me what I am today, the mess that I am. It's always one-sided. So I kind of do this, do I blame my parents for all the crud that they put me through as a kid and didn't prepare me for and legitimately traumatized me, that has caused the messed up situation that is now, with all my panic disorder, with not being able to focus on things and know how to deal with certain events that come up in life, not know how to deal with stress and maintain normal working relationships, working friendships, and all that kind of stuff. Who's to blame for that? So that's one of the things going on in my head, is the mess that's here right now. Who takes credit for that? Is it me, or is it people in the past? And not to just unload on my parents. There are other people. Religion's a beautiful thing, and another reason I may want to put this on a different channel, just because I may get too preachy for some. Whatever. This is who I am. So one of the things I'm pretty ashamed of is not being more vocal with my faith and my beliefs, and giving credit to where credit's due for why I have made it to where I have. All the bad things you can throw on other people, I'll take the blame, but all the good things, man, the good things, those only come from one place. So maybe this, branches off into another channel kind of thing, but I'll jump on here right now. I was part of a church. Back up. All the abuse of my father. Highly narcissistic. Mentally, physically, verbally abusive. My entire life. Even after I was married. First got married, we moved into the house, and he acts like he owns the place because anything that's my son's is mine. And wife had to actually slap me with some reality as newlyweds, like, no, this is our home. He's not welcome here. That's the type of person he's going to be. He's not welcome here. And then the abuse that came from that, he was angry. I respect your decision, but he was mad. And then later on he was embezzling from me. It was a mess. And I'm in my early to mid 20s. And the fear of telling him, no, I'll take care of things on my own. You can't do that. I tried a couple of times of, all right, I'm married, I'm establishing my own house, I'll take over my bills, I'll assume all my payments. So no, it's easier, just do it this way. You pay me one check per month and I'll take care of everything else, because it's too difficult, because things are all tied up together. We were co-signed on a car, and insurance was still joint at the time. Cell phone, that kind of thing. And I'm like, fine, whatever. And then later on, it turns out, he filed for bankruptcy, and we went to try and trade in the car that we had, the truck that we had. And the guy comes back out and says, I got bad news. I can't touch this vehicle. It's in bankruptcy. I'm like, what? What do you mean it's in bankruptcy? I've made every single payment. I'm like, how long has it been in bankruptcy? It's like 4 months. I'm like, no. Because I made every single payment to my father. And when I tell him about it, he's like, oh, you owe me that money anyway. I'm like, for what? Anyway, that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to him. So when our relationship severed, we were going to the same church, and I'm mentally immature and not knowing what's going on, how to conduct my affairs, newlywed. I'm not, don't know what I'm doing in life. Still don't know. And so we ended up staying. He brought us, and it was just from one narcissist to another. The preacher at that congregation was just like him, if not worse, because he was older in age and wiser, and his tactics were more polished and clean. So you didn't really know what was going on. But man, some doozies of some trauma and abuse that go on. We got very close to this guy, I still look back at it and I'm like, well, I don't get why. What it was so close that he accepted us into his family, and I'm sitting at his right hand every single Sunday afternoon for lunch. It's like, we are family. And that boggles my mind. I still don't get why that went on, or why that close. From both sides, why he let us get that close, and why I wanted to. I don't know. But you get the behind the scenes of stuff, and the talking bad about people in the congregation behind their back, and telling me deep dark secrets of people that he's had confide in him. And I'm a good boy. I keep my mouth shut. I don't say anything. But deep down, I'm asking myself, why is he telling me this? What? I don't need to know these things. Deep, dark, intimate things about people. Scarring situations. That if those kind of things got out into public, and the public knew about them, it'd ruin people's lives. And he's just flapping his gums, telling me all these things. I'm like, and I keep them all to myself, because that I recognize the responsibility of, okay, he can't keep his mouth shut, and he unloaded all of this stuff on me that I don't need to know. Now the responsibility is on me. Keep your mouth shut. Because if I open my mouth and I accidentally say something to someone else, it's going to ruin somebody's life, kind of thing. Well, case in point, and this one's become public knowledge. You know, there was a person inside the church that was asked to take a leadership position many, many times. And this preacher told me all this information. He didn't want to do it. He's scared. He doesn't, he's scarred from elders and leaders in other congregations, and he doesn't ever want to be in that position. He doesn't want it, and he's turned it down multiple times. I'm like, okay, well, again, why are you telling me this stuff? I don't need to know it. Well, in a conversation, I accidentally let that out. I said, well, I don't understand why he doesn't want to have that position. He'd be great for it, kind of thing. And the people that were there had this look on their face of, well, what do you mean he's turned it down? And that's it hit me. It was like, I just slipped. What did I do? And then it gets back to the preacher that told me this. He's like, why did you tell? You can't keep your mouth shut? And I'm like, you put me in this position because you couldn't keep your mouth shut. I had no business knowing those intimate details about something. Yes, I messed up and I let it slip and it hurt other people, but I had no business being in that position that you put me in. And that's, again, just one really teeny tiny tip of the iceberg. And I was there for more than 20 years. And it was bad. All the things that I have learned privately about people that I have no business knowing. Again, being put in those positions, it's stressful to have a normal conversation with somebody and constantly have in the back of your head, don't say this, don't say that, don't say this, don't say that, because and you can't say those things. You're constantly measuring your words of well, I can't say that, I can't say this, I can't say that. If I say this, I got to say it in a certain way. Man, that's tough. That's tough. And all of that, it boils down to there was a big split, and the projection and the narcissism. It's always somebody else's fault. It's never the fault of the person who actually did the wrong. And that person that does the wrong will always find a way to blame others. And the timing of things is peculiar. A bunch of people left that church unknowing to each other. It was not planned, it wasn't coordinated, but it all happened within a matter of 3 days. Five or six families all left and at the same time and sent letters of leaving and all that kind of stuff. And then it was like the Titanic was sinking and everybody's all freaking out. Big meeting was called, and the way they ganged up on all the people that left, and I'm sitting in the meeting scratching my head. There's order and method on things that needs to be carried out, and it's like, well, has anybody actually reached out to see what's going on? Oh yeah, we've tried everything and nobody's contacting us. Well, okay, as soon as that meeting was over, I called a couple of people and I said, have they tried to contact you? No. Oh, so they just lied to everybody, number one. Number two, order and method, that is, you contact, and if there's an issue, you bring it to that person's attention, and give them opportunity to clear it up. And that wasn't done. And here, they go through their whole spiel, and I'm like, this. Somebody said, where there's smoke, there's fire, and all of this is coordinated, and they're all conspiring. And I'm like, no. When there's smoke and mirrors, there's a magician. And that's what it was. People orchestrating that meeting to suit their narrative, which is another thing that narcissists do. So the point comes in time, anybody have any questions? Psst, I raise my hand, I got questions. And I'm like, okay, have we done this? Have we done this? Have we done this? Well, we don't have to because we've done this. I'm like, well, no, you've spent the past 20 years indoctrinating into me that there's order and method, and here is what we need to do, and you haven't done that. I'm flapping my gums, but this, get it off. So it all falls apart, and I'm there, and that's roughly about the time where I have a panic attack, a pretty big one. And I've tried to figure out some of the triggers, and I just can't. I'm laying in bed one night, and I was halfway asleep, and then just out of nowhere, boom, it hits, and it was bad. It was bad. With panic attacks, there's this, at least with me, some people have different things. They get anxiety attacks that just, you feel clammy, your hands sweat, your heart, races just a little bit. And that's the extent of it with some people. With me, I feel like I am having a heart attack. And if you watch the movies, you see the Hitchcock effect, where everything kind of zooms in and zooms out at the same time, and you get this weird vertigo feeling. And it's like the world is just coming down, and you get this massive sense of impending doom, terror, and the fear of death just takes over. And this one was probably one of the worst, if not the worst, that I've ever had. And eyes are starting to roll back in my head, and I'm thinking, I'm about to pass out, and this is it. Once I pass out, it's over. I'm dead. And it's bad. It's bad. So at that time I had that panic attack, and blessing in disguise. There's so much stress of everything going on, and this was right after I won Forged in Fire, and I got a bunch of orders that I had to take, or had to get done, and already took payment. So the stress was mounting, and I got shingles. And it wasn't as bad as everybody told me it would be. Having said that, it was still pretty bad. Had to shave the beard, obviously. That's where that went. But I used that shingles as the excuse to leave that congregation without having too much backlash come at me. And it worked temporarily. We left, we got out. And a few months later, then, everything gets pointed at us. The narcissistic playbook. And I knew that playbook because I'd seen that playbook and was taught that playbook for 20 plus years. So when that playbook started to come at me, I turned it around and threw it back at them. And asking all these questions: are you affiliated with this person? Do you still know this person? Are you still talking to this person? Knowing that they would try and nail me on guilt by association, this kind of thing. To which they've got the same issues with a bunch of other things, members that are in that congregation that have family members that are at a congregation that they wouldn't associate with, and say it's a horrible place to be. So I throw it back, and that goes the way it does. Not taking the point of view that they do, that condemning them for any of that kind of stuff. That's just knowing that that's their playbook. I'm just throwing the playbook back at them. I'm not going to sit back and say I know everybody's heart and I know every congregation and how it operates and judge all of that. That's not my job. My job is to see things that go on, and when they go on, I make my conclusion and decision then. If I don't know anything and I just hear something from somebody, I'm not going to go along with it just because. I need proof. And until somebody gives me that proof, they get the benefit of the doubt. That's part of being a Christian. You're not always anxious to jump on somebody. You're anxious and willing to give people the benefit of the doubt. That's what it's all about. I mean, you got the lady that was caught in adultery that was thrown before Christ, and he who's without sin cast the first stone. And it's speculated what he was writing down in the dirt. And some speculate, it makes sense, don't know. Some speculate that he's writing down the sins of everybody that's there, holding stones ready to throw. And the lady that was caught in adultery, she was caught in adultery. She doesn't, you can't deny that. Once everybody's gone, there's no accusers left. And what does he say? He doesn't accuse her. Go and sin no more. And that one kind of gets to me. She was clearly caught in adultery. It's probably my wife. clearly caught in adultery, and he doesn't condemn her. He says, go, just don't do it anymore. Benefit of the doubt. Wanting the best for someone. Not carrying around a baseball bat looking to club people over the head with it. That's where I used to be. So we left. We're out of that. There was my wife. She's on her way home. It's tough coming out of that type of situation and having to unlearn all the negative brainwashing that I got for 20 plus years, and even further back, the foundation laid by my father that made me more susceptible to staying there for 20 years. You know, years ago, man, it was probably 10 years ago. My wife was like, "We need to leave. This is not a healthy congregation. We need to leave." I'm like, no, we can't do that. We can't, whether it's fear of the unknown or I don't know what it was. I really don't. But that has played a significant role in the mental issues that I have now and trying to unweave them and level them back out. And when you're in that constant narcissistic indoctrination and always looking for negative, and when you get out of it, it's very hard to find positive things in life. And when you've got such a tight, small circle of people that you don't allow others to come in to grow and know, and then when you're out of that, you're completely abandoned and you don't have anybody. And take it as a cry for help. Maybe it is. I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't know many people. You know, I've got some friends in the knife making community. You're watching now. I've got some friends, but they're distant friends. I literally don't see people on a day-to-day basis. I'm tucked in my own little world. With as much as I try and branch out and get out, it's still tough. I don't work in an office. I don't work with other people as much as I would love to. I don't get a lot of interaction on a day-to-day basis. And that's hard. I love my daughter. I love my wife. I love spending as much time as I can with my daughter. But I need adult interaction. I need a lot of it. The only adult interaction I get is when I go to the gym, and everybody there is amazing. They're wonderful people, but it's those small doses, and I need more of it. I have no idea how long this has been. Don't care. If you want to watch it, great. Thank you. Love you. If you click off, you have no idea what I'm talking about then. Who cares? I'll probably end it there. I'm thinking about doing, just for my own, getting it off my chest, mental health, making it part of a daily routine. And if you want to watch it and interact and help in any way that you can, phenomenal. And if by me talking and getting things off my chest helps you in any way, wonderful. I could want nothing more. That's it. Wednesday, October 14th, 3:56. Thanks for being there. Thanks for listening.